Some dreams don't come with an applause. Some gifts feel too big for the space we're in. And sometimes the thing we were made to do, the thing that sets our soul on fire, starts to feel like a burden when no one else sees it. Today's story is about holding on to wonder, to imagination, to the belief that fantasy isn't an escape, but a calling. Welcome to Short Stories with Lola. For years, I poured everything I had into one dream: to create worlds that didn't exist, to write stories filled with magic, swords, prophecies, and characters who fought inner wars as much as outer ones. I wanted to be a fantasy author, not just a hobbyist, but a builder of realms like Tolkien or Robert Jordan. I didn't want to retell life. I wanted to reshape it. I blogged about magic systems and character archetypes. I built entire languages for cultures that lived only in my head. I created audio diaries, part story, part lore, and shared them through a podcast, slowly growing an audience of other fantasy lovers. But no matter how hard I worked, nothing seemed to land. Agents rejected my manuscripts. My blog felt like I was whispering into a void. And the podcast, while it had a few loyal listeners, wasn't growing the way I hoped. After years of effort, I began to wonder, what if this was all just a fantasy, literally and figuratively? What if I was chasing something that just wasn't meant for me? I remember it clearly, sitting in my room, staring at a binder full of world maps and story arcs, asking myself the question no storyteller wants to ask. Is this dream even worth it anymore? I had just received another "we love your imagination, but it's not quite the right fit" email from a literary agent. And it wasn't just that rejection, it was all of it. The silence, the slow traction, the sense that I was pouring water into a well with no bottom. I considered deleting my Substack, shutting down the podcast, burning the whole fantasy world I had spent years building. And then my phone buzzed. It was a message from a stranger, someone who had stumbled across one of my early fantasy short stories. And they wrote, "I just wanted to say, your story reminded me of why I fell in love with fantasy in the first place. Thank you for creating something that felt like home." I stared at the screen, frozen. Not because it was some grand testimonial, but because it was enough. Enough to remind me that this world I was building wasn't just for me. It meant something to someone else too. In that moment, I realized something simple and true. It shouldn't be about writing to impress agents or podcasting to go viral. It's about writing because it's what I'm made to do. And I still had stories left to tell. I didn't give up. My mindset had changed. I refined my world, rewrote old drafts, launched a serialized fantasy story on my site with character art and maps. I kept podcasting out of joy and the love for it. And even when my voice shook with uncertainty, I didn't back down. I left it raw, real, and vulnerable. I connected with fellow writers on Discord and TikTok, building a tiny community of dreamers like me. And then, a small indie publisher reached out after reading one of my world-building threads. They offered me a chance to co-write a fantasy novella for their anthology. 2 months later, a YouTuber found my podcast and featured it on their top underrated fantasy podcast list. My listeners doubled in a week. It wasn't a publishing deal with HarperCollins, but it was proof that my voice had value. that my worlds were worth exploring, that being honest and real connects you with those you're meant to reach. I still have moments of doubt, still battle that inner critic that whispers, "You're not Tolkien, you're not Sanderson. Who are you to build worlds?" But I answer back now and loudly too. I don't need to be them. I just need to be me. I was chosen for this. This imagination, this voice, this calling, it was given to me for a reason. So I'll keep writing, keep dreaming, keep bringing to life the worlds only I can see. Because the truth is, some stories are meant to save the world, and some are meant to save the storyteller first. Thank you for listening to today's story about holding on to your dream when it feels like no one else sees it. If you're fighting doubt or thinking of quitting, don't. You're not chasing fantasy. You're creating something real. This is Short Stories with Lola. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. And until next time, stay faithful to your world, your wonder, and the gift that was given to only you.